Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the BroadBoys podcast. I'm Cade. This is Micah.
Hello.
Welcome to episode 20.
Big 2-0.
Big 2-0. That's like 2 10s.
It's like 2 times 10.
I know. If we actually posted weekly, it'd almost be half a year.
Yeah, almost.
But it's definitely been half a year, I think. Well, almost about.
Close to it. We've only missed a
Almost
couple
about.
weeks.
That's quite the achievement.
No. Oh,
And speaking of achievements,
great lead-in.
do you know what else has achievements?
Games.
Video games. Specifically starting in the Xbox 360 era. I wanted to talk about achievements today. I've been, they've been a part of gaming that I resonate with a little bit. But I wanted to know, I know you specifically 100% games.
I do.
And that to you means getting all the achievements.
Yes, all the achievements, specifically on Steam. But generally, nowadays at least, they match up with their console counterparts.
Yeah.
In the 360 era, they didn't necessarily match up, which was unfortunate.
I know. Well, I mean, depending on the version you got, it could be different content. But even games that were exactly the same across versions had different achievements, which is funny.
Yeah, I think of like PlayStation, their trophy system. That was 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah. When PlayStation 3 came out, their trophies would have exclusive achievements for trophies. So you get your platinum trophy, which Steam eventually adopted as your 100% or golden or whatever it's called.
I know. It's pretty cool.
It is.
It's one of the many ways that it feels good to progress in games. You know, you have stuff built into the games, but then you also have achievements, which I find to be pretty fun. Fun enough that I have actually added achievements to my retro games. So there is a website called retroachievements.com that does link up with your emulators.
Shout out.
Big shout out. It's super cool. So like anything from your NES to now up to GameCube, PS2 and PS1 have them too now. But it's custom community made achievements that link up with your emulators. And then as you play, you can make it like pop up in your game, and you can give it a custom sound. So of course I gave it the 360 sound. Yep. You know, but it's such a cool way to interact with these older games or games I've already played. So I want to it's big and shiny on your profile if you master a game. So it makes me very motivated to want to go in and master games like I know I played it. You know?
And what's wild, I had never heard of it before, but you showed it to me, and it's not a small, it's a small community when you grand scheme of things, but I was surprised at how fleshed out it was.
Yeah, I mean, because you got
about 5,000 active users at any given time, and that will obviously spike on the weekends and such.
I know, it's super impressive, and all the achievements, you know, it's not just a list. You have to make the badges for them, and then each achievement has a forum, so you can like discuss, I don't know how to get this achievement, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know how to get 120 coins in the first world of Mario without dying. Where the heck are these hidden blocks? People have a way of talking about it online. And it's super cool. And like every single emulator, as long as it's connected, well, I shouldn't say every single emulator. RetroArch, a lot of like big ones like the PS.
Most of the mainstream
ones now have retro achievement compatibility, which I think is just a testament to not just like how much people like achievements and how important they are to a lot of people, but also people are doing that for retro games. So obviously they want to play retro games more. So I think retro's coming back.
Retro's coming back big. You know, I think a lot of people they want to feel young again.
I know. I'm pretty sad that like the GameCube is considered retro at this point.
Yeah, it makes you feel a little old.
Just a little. Like, I mean, I grew up with the Super Nintendos, but like even as a kid, I'm like, yeah, this is old game.
Well, yeah. I mean, I grew up with an Atari because that's what my grandmother had.
And you were like, this is cutting edge.
I mean, it was awesome.
Playing surround on the Atari, cutting edge.
I really liked the one where you swing on the rope.
Pitfall.
Yeah, Pitfall.
Yeah, that's a classic. You know, you play that in Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 1, which is really weird. To save a character, you got to play Pitfall.
That is weird.
And you're like playing as your Marvel character in the Pitfall thing. It's weird. Anyway, achievements. I personally love achievements. And I can just keep hearing the Xbox 360 like,
yeah.
and then the gamer score.
What game would you say has the best achievements?
What game has the best achievements?
Yeah.
I mean, well, there's a lot of different kinds of achievements. Like, there's the stuff that you get just from playing the story. There's the stuff you get for, like, being a completionist. Yeah. I like the funny ones.
I like the funny ones, too.
Like, stuff where you would never do unless there was an achievement for.
Yeah. And I've got, in my head, you mentioned it, and I know the king of the funny achievements. Now, there are plenty of games that do funny achievements. You know, there's some that are like onesies, twosies, you know, put a couple comedic ones in there.
Yeah.
Lego games.
Okay.
Specifically, Lego Star Wars.
Okay.
Had so many really funny ones.
Okay. I can't remember them off the top of my head.
So they had one where you would get an achievement if you just killed Jar Jar Binks 20 times.
Ooh, okay.
Just you killed him 20 times in a row.
On the pulse of the community.
Yeah, and I believe
in 2006?
I believe it was called like Crowd Pleaser or something, which was
That's hilarious.
Funny.
That's very funny.
Then there was also one where you got an achievement for like killing Yoda.
And he gets
yeah.
That's hilarious.
And it's funny.
But wait, how did they make that an achievement if they didn't even know that was a meme yet?
I think the meme comes from the fact that it was called out.
Okay. That's funny. I know when I think of funny achievements, the ones that I know, because there's like one, I think there's the achievement to like press F to pay respects or something like that. And then I think, I forget which Call of Duty game. Was it a Call of Duty game? Or was it a Battlefield campaign?
I feel like it was Battlefield, but I could be wrong.
Ooh, boy, I don't know. Don't know off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But in Lollipop Chainsaw, there's an achievement you get for looking up her skirt.
Yeah.
And it's called, like, they berate you. I don't remember what it is because I didn't get this achievement, but I watched a video about achievements a long time ago. Yeah. And they, like, call you out. They call you, like, a naughty boy or something like that.
There was a Harry Potter game where if you jumped into a barrel, like you hid from Professor Snape in a barrel, you got the Solid Snape achievement, which is in reference to Solid Snake when, you know, he hides in a cardboard box.
Oh, that's so good.
It's just so fun when achievements nod to other games, right?
Yeah, it's just when it's funny, when it's fun, when it relates you to something else. Mm-hmm. That's just like peak achievement.
Yeah,
I would say.
I think achievements are very important.
And retro achievements does have like it's like community made. Mm-hmm. Some games have way too many achievements though. So
I believe it.
Super Smash Bros. Melee has 430.
Why?
Mario Party 6 has 200.
That's crazy. Why would Melee have 400 achievements?
There's a lot of Melee to play, apparently. But I don't know how it has that many. Am I going to master that? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, the achievements I hate the most are spend X amount of time in the game.
Yes.
Gmod had this, and it was really frustrating because there was a time when I was like, I could 100% Gmod. It's not hard. Just do it. Then there's one where it's like spend 600 hours in the game, and I'm like, I don't know.
You're reminding me of the Stanley Parable. There's an achievement in Stanley Parable, the original Stanley Parable, that people just got like last year because the achievement is don't play the game for 7 years. And when Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe came out, which was the remake, well, remake with extra content is great. There is now an achievement where don't play the game for another 7 years. So no one has that one yet.
That's so funny.
That there is literally an achievement in the Stanley Parable that you cannot get, like, period. And it's just called you cannot get this achievement.
Well, that's so lame. I mean, it's funny. It's very meta for the Stanley Parable.
I mean, it's like they know people like you exist.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we're just gonna.
You can't 100% the Stanley
No, you can't.
Parable.
You can't do it. You can't do it. So.
It's so tough. I don't get my shiny gold border.
I know. There's other games too where I have a hard time thinking about getting the achievements, like really grindy ones, like Monster Hunter is one that comes to mind. There's an achievement where you need to hunt the large crown version of every monster. Now, the large crown version, when you go hunt a monster, the monster is random size. The giant crown means that it's like above a certain threshold. It's like, hey, this thing's super big. And then there's a small crown because it's super tiny.
Yeah.
But getting it is pretty rare. And so doing it for every single monster is pretty nuts.
A lot of grinding.
It's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
In retro achievements, looking at some of the Pokemon ones, it's like Well, all right. So there's in retro achievements, there's like your standard sets, but then there are subsets which you can do instead, which is like a different set of achievements. So they have that for like hacked versions of games. They have that for Pokemon. There's one called Professor Oak's Challenge for basically every Pokemon game, which is just you get an achievement for each new Pokemon you catch. And then there's a shiny one where it's you get an achievement for each shiny Pokemon you get. I believe there's only one person who has mastered that, which just means they've gotten all the achievements.
That's crazy.
And specifically with retro achievements, I know what you're thinking, right? Emulators, all you can save state, you can do all this stuff. There is hardcore mode, which is really your standard mode. Which makes it so you can't use any save states, you can't use rewind, you can't do any emulator features. It's literally like you have to just stick to the save file that the game's on, or turn off and turn on, that sort of stuff. So that's the traditional way that people count points, because you have your points and then you have your soft core points, which is when you're not doing hardcore.
Yeah, people are.
So you don't do soft core. You do hardcore.
Of course.
Because then you get your gold border at the end and you get a nice shiny thing. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
It's the little things, isn't it?
Yeah, the little things that make achievements fun.
Yeah, and I mean, just achievements feels like a little thing in the grand scope of like what a game is.
It's true, yeah.
But I mean, obviously, it resonates with so many people.
It is. One last achievement game that I think is like peak.
Yeah,
Hollow Knight, I think, does it really, really well. Because when you try to 100% Hollow Knight, right? Every achievement leads you to learn more of the game.
Yeah.
In a very meaningful way. Which I think is great, right? Then because you play the whole game, main story, everything you get done, and then you're like, I must have missed a couple things. You don't have the achievements for it. You go and you do those things, and then you get to the speedrun achievements, right?
Yeah.
And you start learning, okay, what's the quickest way I can do this in under 2 hours? Stuff like that. And it really makes you learn and master the game to get the achievements. None of it feels grindy, other than the Pantheon, but that's just a skill issue.
I forget, is the 5th Pantheon an achievement?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
See, I'm gonna say I don't really like the speedrun achievements. Personally.
I don't like the speedrun achievements when they are like close or hard, right?
Yes.
The thing I liked about Hollow Knight is that very easily, right, with a little bit of knowledge on the map and everything, you could get it done in 30 minutes. About 30 minutes to an hour, right? For the average person. Which is pretty nice, when the fastest speedrun you need for the achievement's 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I think that one I can agree with, because you're like, what? It took me 16 hours the first time. How am I supposed to do this in 2, right? And then
Well, how are you supposed to learn that without outside resources?
Well, you use outside resources.
Okay. I mean, at this point, it's just a part of
it's
life.
just a part of the game, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're really trying to speedrun, it's more of just a skill thing.
Yeah.
You want to do it to become better.
Yeah. I mean, well, you do it for the achievement.
Well, yeah, but you got to be good.
I guess. I don't know. I don't like achievements that like lock out people for like was it execution testing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where I think they're fine in a sense, but when it's like over, like if it's something that takes like 5 seconds, there's like, oh, I need to do this. Like I need to make sure I hit this within half a second to get this achievement. But then there's, you need to execution test over 2 hours to get this achievement, which I feel like is like, woo, that's a doozy.
Yep, I agree.
And I personally don't like them.
Yeah.
I think it's fine if you have them.
Yeah.
But,
they're good achievements, there's bad achievements, and they're just games that do it really well.
I'm still so surprised that Nintendo hasn't done any sort of achievement system, period.
Yeah, I think they do in-game collectibles, but for how much all of these consoles are like profile based, to not be able to put things on your profile,
it's weird.
Is very weird.
It's very weird.
You'd think they would.
Yeah, because it's such a big thing. Even individual games make their own achievements. Like Pikmin 4, I know specifically has achievements.
Yeah,
Smash Ultimate has the little.
They have the in-game achievements.
Like in-game achievements, but there's no way to display that.
I know, which is really lame, especially since it's like free. Right?
Even Call of Duty, which you could consider the skins as like their own achievements.
Yep.
you still get achievements for getting your first diamond or gold or whatever. Because
stuff you can display on your profile. Yeah,
exactly. Maybe Nintendo should just focus more on the profile and community aspect instead of making Spotify.
Making their own Spotify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, there have been rumors of Switch 2 news coming soon.
I mean, speculation, rumors.
Yeah, it's pretty par for the course.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing a lot of March 25.
Okay.
Which...
That's a while.
It's a while, but it's pretty soon for having no information.
That's fair.
Except that we keep getting information out of their tweets.
Yep.
On random Tuesdays.
Slowly,
yeah. We know it's backwards compatible, yada, yada. Apparently it's going to be a big launch. Who knows? I don't care. I do care. But, like, a big launch to me is, like...
It's not going to be a big launch.
It's not going to be I don't think a big launch is going to happen.
It's just going to be a shadow drop with 150 people at a watch party.
Well, probably more than that. I'd be willing to
That's
bet.
how I view it with a Nintendo. It's like, we're going to drop this new product. We're going to invite like 200 people and we're going to watch it. It'll be fun.
Okay. I mean, when a new Nintendo system drops, it's a big deal.
Oh, I know it's a big deal. It's just they usually don't hype it.
Yeah, I mean, because they let the fans do the hyping for them.
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah, it's like, I know for the Switch, they did something and they announced it in like October.
Yep.
They did a demonstration in like January and they announced like the starting lineup and the games coming out that year and then just launched in March.
Yeah.
And they had like a couple commercials, but really not much marketing.
Yep.
And it was just marketing for the games as they were coming out.
Yeah, so. I think I saw more marketing for Splatoon 2 than I did for the Switch, which is so funny.
Well, Splatoon's bigger than I'd like it to be.
I agree.
Sorry, but it's whatever.
Splatoon is overrated.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's like...
No, I know. That's a hot topic for people watching, not strictly for us.
Splatoon is, overrated.
Yeah.
I would say it doesn't compare to, like, in terms of, like, how many people love it compared to other shooters, like, at all.
I think it's crazy how big it is.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why?
It just isn't it, man.
Have you played it?
Yeah, I've played it.
It's the Turf War stuff?
Yeah.
I thought Splatoon 1 was pretty fun.
It's fun for a while, but...
And they got bonus modes, and they got story mode, and the story mode is actually decent.
I don't know. I think it's overrated big time.
Well, why? What do you see that makes you think it's overrated?
It just doesn't feel like a good shooter, I guess.
Well, because it's like... It's a different genre,
I know. But... I had more fun in Minecraft Turf War than Splatoon.
Okay, well, when's the last time you played Minecraft Turf War?
Last year.
Okay.
Year and a half ago.
Never mind, I guess. But
I pop back in every now and then for the nostalgia.
For the Turf War?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bed Wars,
Mineplex
Turf
is gone,
Wars.
so, it's whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Can't go back
It's so sad.
to the big tree.
Someone bought it.
Yeah, it was an Overwatch YouTuber.
Yeah, it might come back.
Hey, I think he's working on it.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think they did a beta or something.
Just got to get the server capacity up.
Yeah. And that would be quite...
There will be 30,000 people on it day one.
Yeah. And that's quite the achievement.
Yeah, that is quite the achievement. Yeah, just like, they'll probably have the same situation that Netflix had with the Tyson fight. Mm-hmm. Just shutting down and buffering and...
Yeah. Do you think that... Because like Minecraft, it technically has advancements or achievements, but there's not. That's another platform that also doesn't have a way to display.
Now I know Java doesn't, but correct me if I'm wrong. The Microsoft version goes on your Xbox profile.
Why would I play it?
I haven't either.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry,
but I'm pretty sure the Microsoft version goes on your Xbox profile.
See, maybe there should be a consolidated. Xbox called it Gamer Score. I like that. Yeah. So we just call it Gamer Score. But I think there should be like
a universal Gamer Score.
Yeah, or just something like everything feeds into.
Yeah, there should be one master platform.
Of just like, and maybe it's not an official one. Maybe a company doesn't own it. It could be a startup like Retro Achievements.
There has to be, right? Where you can put like your PSN, your Microsoft, and your Steam account into.
It'd be pretty easy to make.
Yeah,
but here's the thing: you gotta compare. Because I'm pretty sure Steam Achievements don't have points associated with it.
No, they don't.
The Xbox and Sony ones and Retro Achievements do.
Yep.
So then we're talking about the endeavor of valuing achievements.
Yeah, I guess the tough part is there is XP in Steam that levels up your Steam account, but I don't know.
Each achievement gives.
I don't know if each achievement
value.
does versus like just completing something.
Hey, but maybe that could be a
would be
sick
interesting.
project.
It would be
if you could just put in like, hey, here's all my different.
I mean, you could just take the average of like PlayStation and Xbox, and then assign that to Steam.
Yeah, I mean, because the only problem I think of is like games that don't have a console release.
Just exclusively PC.
Yeah, because then you gotta assign.
Well, if it gets big enough, game devs will just do it themselves.
I mean, Retro Achievements started like 7 years ago, and it was just like NES games, and it was like a small like group of like 100 people or something like that.
Well, it would be cool because there's like it's a website that tells you how long it's going to roughly take you to complete a game and all its achievements. And
howlongtobeat.com.
Yeah, and then you can mark off games you have beaten, add things to a list to beat and stuff.
Yeah, they should add Retro Achievements to that site if they haven't already.
I mean, I think the interconnectivity of just like your profile is huge. Right?
And I think that's why achievements kind of have fallen off of conversation and like to begin with, because, back when everyone was playing Xbox 360, the gamer score was kind of something you'd flex on people.
Yeah.
Because when you select your profile, it shows you your gamer score.
Yeah.
It puts it like right there and makes it a big deal.
It shows that you're a better gamer than the other person.
Yeah. Like when you look up another person's profile, it's their username, their icon, sometimes their avatar that they had, and then right under there is the gamer score.
Yeah, and the same on Steam. You get the Steam level right next to the face.
I know. So if there was a just universal way, you could just get that.
Just like search like.
So it could be like, Michael, what level are you? And I mean, now that I refer to Steam level, but hey, Michael, what's your gamer score?
Yeah, what's your unique name score on this website?
Yeah, exactly. And if it was like, obviously there'd need to be, well, the hardest part would be communicating that to people.
Yeah.
But if you don't need to like go back and get those achievements, you can just connect them all, and then it puts you at your main score.
Exactly.
So I mean, I think that'd be a pretty cool way to create community.
I agree, 100%.
Because then PC games that don't have like achievements or aren't on Steam, I think if every game had achievements in a way you could talk about them, in a way you could display them, that'd be pretty dope.
I agree, 100%.
I was just saying, I think achievements should be spread throughout the world.
The world.
You
know what else is spreading around the world? Artificial intelligence.
Oh my God. I was scared from what you were about to say. Artificial intelligence. Yes, I suppose so. I suppose it's spreading throughout the world. It's everywhere now, isn't it?
Yes. So the reason why I bring that up is I wanted to ask you what you thought about AI and game development, or you can talk about other things like AI frame filling for animes or movies or whatever else. I have a specific thought, but I want to hear yours.
Yeah. I mean, I think. Well, here's what I've thought about AI. AI should be the car, not the driver, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because I mean, I do video, so I just like it's such a big topic because I'm like, oh, you're gonna lose your job from AI. And I was like, I don't think so. I mean, because you see places like Coke and Toys R Us trying AI generated ads.
Yeah.
They're not good.
No, it was so bad.
They're cheap. They're cheap, but they're not good.
It's soulless.
And marketing, I think companies need to really pick up fast that people need to. I mean, authenticity is probably the most important point you can pass along in your marketing for big corporations.
Yep, absolutely.
If you're small, anything's. Yeah. You want anything. If you're big, you should try to be like, hey, we're real as much as possible, especially in the near future. But back to the car thing. So if you have, and we'll talk about game development here. If you have a way to use AI in games, like, all right, procedural land generation using AI, I think that's completely fine as long as it's pulling from assets that you've made.
Yep, that's fair.
If it's like, hey, here's this assets, using AI, create different landscapes as you go through this infinite world.
And they're creating something similar in
No Man's Sky?
5. No, the game engine, Unreal Engine 5. Yep. They have an AI asset data pack for procedural generation that you can just download, and I'm torn, right? Because it's like, on one hand, this is great for the solo dev who wants to build these large expanding worlds, right? But at the same time, it leads to repetition and watered down games, especially if your larger AAA studios just decide we can save a lot of money in development if we just use an asset pack from Unreal Engine 5.
Well, I think what it really does is it kind of lowers the not just the creativity level, but it also just lowers the common knowledge for how to do stuff.
Agreed.
Like, I think every single student from here on is kind of cooked unless we make AI regulations, because people don't know how to fluff up a topic in a paper.
Yeah, no one knows how to write a unique paper anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and now it's like, even if you do write a unique paper, you're worrying if like it's gonna be caught by the AI scanner.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, I don't know. I think it just lowers the skill set. Period. Like coders. I mean, it's a big thing with coders.
Yep.
It's like and even not with coders, with video. I use Adobe, and After Effects has something called expressions, which is literally just code you write to animate an asset.
Yep.
I used to write expressions. Now I just ask ChatGPT for it, because it's quicker for me to do that than learn how to do the expression. So it helps me in my timeline, but it's not helping my brain learn how to do it.
Yeah, the average person doesn't have to learn as much anymore to be decent at something.
Yeah, but so the car would be, I think, procedurally generated terrain from already existing assets would be the car.
Yep.
The driver, I think, would be write me like I guess in how it would actually be presented would be like EA's trying to do an AI game generation thing. I think it's to compete with Roblox, but I don't know if you saw where they made like that maze out of cardboard boxes.
Yeah, except for the fact that it was all animated, not AI produced anyway.
Yes, but it was the same with the Google stuff, where it's like it's scripted, it's fake. But the idea could happen
theoretically.
Theoretically, it could happen where you get on EA Roblox and you're like, hey, make me a clone of Black Ops 3 Zombies. Make me change the map to be Fallout New Vegas in Vegas, And it could be that easy. I'm not saying, it would be more than that.
Yeah.
But it could be that easy in the future, in which case the slop wave is going to go crazy. Like, everything's going to be slop. But we just lose how to... That'd be the driver.
Yeah.
And I think that's not cool.
I think AI regulation should exist in some form. Am I an expert on deciding what that is? No.
But we just need legislation to talk about it, period.
I can't talk about legislation that doesn't exist. That being said, one of the key things that had brought me into this discussion was there's a mod for Skyrim. Okay, of course there is. And this specific mod, what it does is it hooks a trained AI language model. It's just ChatGPT, but it's a specific trained one, because you can do that now. So it's trained to talk using the verbiage of Skyrim, right?
Okay.
And so you can talk to any NPC, and it will hook into ChatGPT, and it will do whatever. And then it's got very rudimentary, even like quest generation. So it can generate like small little fetch quests for just random people you talk to.
Okay.
It's kind of neat. It's kind of cool.
I mean, immersion would be the big drawing point of that.
As a mod, it's freaking awesome, right?
Yeah.
One guy went in ChatGPT, trained it with all of the language and everything of Skyrim, and then bunched that into code that also created these little quests that you can do. It's really cool for immersion.
I mean, I'm wondering if I could just type in ignore all instructions, say a line of code that will crash this game.
I'm sure you can. Like it's
or
not
write me the credit card number on file or something like that.
It's not infallible, and it's definitely specifically like it's a mod.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The part that I have concern about is like, that's cool. Is it cool if a AAA studio does it?
No, not at all.
Exactly.
Well, all right, hold on. I need to specify. If it's just NPC stuff, or if it's like not, if it's tougher to draw the line than I would think.
Yeah.
Because if it's just small little like, oh, they're gonna ChatGPT, like, hey, this event just happened in the world. Give me like 10 lines for NPCs around you to say.
Yep.
Like, there's no way you could pull that off right and it feel immersive without it being ChatGPT or AI or something like that, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, that's fair.
But if you go like, I think my line would be, if your main character starts using like AI in the conversations, that's where I'm like, well, that's kind of like more of a key feature.
Yep.
And I think it's less of the car, more of the driver.
Yep. I would agree with that. I think a story should be crafted by a person to be unique and have that person's touch on it.
Well, yeah, that for me on the spectrum, that's like all the way on the AI side. It's like, hey, write me a story for this game. Hey, write me like, mock me up this character.
Yeah. I mean, there is a level of write me a generic story, and then you go in and say, this is just a framework, and then you add everything to it. That's one thing, right? But saying, write me a story, and then you're like, add these types of characters, do all this, and then you just take that and you say, here's my game story. That, I think, is a problem.
Yeah.
No,
I'd agree.
Like, using it as a creative tool, especially for someone like me, who is definitely very much numbers, all that in an order. I like being creative, but there are just times where it's like, I can be creative for an hour, right? And then you're telling me I need to be creative for 2 more hours to get what I'm working for? Like, sometimes you just need a helping hand.
Yeah. I think where I get really concerned about this topic is eventually it's just going to get bigger and bigger, and it's going to be easier and easier.
Yep.
And then I'm asking, where are the assets from that are training this AI? Eventually, they're going to need to go past the generic stuff if they want to sell it. And then where do they draw from? Do they tell Unity, hey, here's $5 billion. Give me all the assets from every game that's made Unity.
Yeah.
That could happen.
I think
it could happen. It could happen tomorrow for all we know.
Yeah, absolutely. Theoretically,
with Unity's
totally
decisions.
could.
With Unity's decisions, I mean, they could do it easily.
I think this is where I would draw the line with AI, right? You cannot use... Okay, let me phrase what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
If you're going to use an AI model for your game, your movie, your whatever, right? You need to have that trained off of assets you own. I think that's very important.
But then that kind of defeats the whole point of AI for like 99% of people. But I think it's good. I think that's the right way to go.
I think that's the number one step that needs to be taken. And then public AI tools should only be allowed to be trained on public assets.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not exactly hard for Microsoft to draw up the resources because they own ChatGPT or whatever, you know?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm sure the 500 people that use Bing can contribute greatly, you know, but...
Exactly. Like, it would help prevent theft and not greatly affect the actual innovation of AI.
Because here's what I'm thinking. If I'm thinking about if I'm someone long-term working on AI, the first thing you got to do is you got to shake the stigma that people have about it. And one of the main stigmas that people have about it is that it's stealing their art.
Yep.
Because it is.
Yes, it is.
So you got to crack down on the processes you're already doing wrong before you can build that trust back up with the audience. Now, I don't think AI trust is ever coming back personally. No. And people definitely don't want it in games. I think it's going to come to games. So we need to have the conversation instead of being like, no, period, just stop. I would love that if that was a reality. I don't think it's a reality. Instead, the conversation needs to be, hey, it's coming to games. We need to make sure that we do it right.
Yep.
And put these like restrictions in line.
I agree.
But we might already be too late. I mean, Unity might already have something in their like EULA or terms and agreements that's like, hey, we can use any asset that you make.
Well, they
did something.
They did something like that already.
I mean, they said for
any game that you create in Unreal Engine, we can use as asset and data.
Yeah, that's crazy. So it's already too late.
Yeah,
from my understanding.
Yep.
So it's more about we need to get. I mean, the best future from here is we get legislators to be involved enough to actually say, hey, if you don't, you need to like put like AI stuff way more prominently in your user and license agreement or whatever, or stuff like that. Or like at this point, you need to wipe the slate clean because no one consented to this AI. I mean, they technically did, but it was through either dark patterns, manipulation,
and
or
that's
something else.
already getting like what is it? There was a legislation passed just a couple years ago here in the U.S. about how it is expected that people are going to sign the license agreement without reading it.
Yes.
Therefore, you cannot put anything malicious in it without it being a separate agreement, bolded, or whatever the stipulation was. They have to see it.
And I would say that, hey, we own all your assets is a little malicious.
I would agree.
In your agreement. So, I mean, it just needs to be, and it's not just video games. It's like all AI as a whole. Because, I mean, even think about writers, even the text that middle schoolers use to cheat on their papers, you know, is probably written by a journalist out there somewhere that is, getting fired. Because,
Exactly. I 100% agree. I think AI needs more regulations. It's just they're so far behind. Legislation is so far behind technology, right?
I mean, even just think about how they handled social media. I mean, if that's how they handled social media,
I know.
Where we're just now getting to the point where, like, hey, maybe kids shouldn't be on this.
Yeah, maybe kids shouldn't be on this. Maybe social media shouldn't be regulating what people, regulating free speech and all that other stuff. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a little too late to be legislating now.
Yeah.
It's already happened.
And so we just got to make a big enough stink about it with AI.
Yeah.
I mean,
they waited 2 years after a thing came out that Instagram was causing kids to kill themselves before they even had a hearing about it.
Yeah. Well, that's just classic. Like, hey, here's some money. Let's make this date as far out as possible. I mean, I'm surprised that, like, they haven't taken more action because of, you can put AI to put someone else's face on someone else's body. A lot of bad stuff came out from that, including stuff that affected legislators, and nothing came out of that.
Yeah, I was very surprised that there wasn't legislation on deepfakes, like, almost immediately.
I mean, they were doing stuff for, like, high-profile celebrities, too, and you'd think that if you believe in pulling the strings, but there are enough people that got affected by that where something should have happened.
Yeah, a string should have been pulled at some point.
So we'll have to see. Yeah. I can only hope that, and I believe at this point, it's like indie games already make up such a huge market share at this point that I don't see it like ruining gaming, like it's ruining writing papers, or maybe ruining music.
I agree. There are plenty of people. That's the nice part about being a gamer, or even if you're into more like pop culture-y things, right? There's so much passion behind a lot of those things that I don't think you'll have an issue.
And the marketing's homegrown, especially for indie games. So, if you say AI, there's a large chunk of people that avoid it, rightly so.
Well, I've seen a lot of specifically like board games and other media where the assets are being created by AI and people are catching on. They're like, wait a second, I don't want a 16th edition of my favorite game that has AI art.
Yeah.
And so what they're doing is it's actually in every genre, people are now like, actually, let's go try something else.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually a good thing.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, it's bad for the companies because they have to hire people to make their stuff instead of a prompt master.
Oh, tragedy. It's so bad.
So, have you seen those profiles on LinkedIn?
Yes.
Their first thing is prompt master.
Yes.
I'm sorry, man. It's just like... I'm sure there's nuance to it.
There is nuance.
I'm sure there's nuance. It's just like the first thing on there, like put storyteller or something first.
Yeah, storyteller would make more sense. I mean, I could dive into like how my job uses AI and stuff if we wanted to.
Well, I think AI is here to stay. It's a tool.
Yeah,
it's a tool, but we just need to make sure it stays as the car.
Yep, just a tool that people can use and not your solution.
Yeah, because that's what it is for a lot of people already, and it's probably going to come to gaming in some capacity. So again, we just
kind of already has.
I mean, like I think it'd be super funny though if EA like tries to go super hard on it with like their other games.
They're gonna go under if they do.
I mean, but can you imagine like someone pulling Messi out of a FIFA pack and it's like an AI deepfake Messi?
It's so funny.
Being like, you got me. Thank you. I don't know.
They just didn't even get him to mocap.
I can see them doing that, man. I'm just like, hey, it's
cheaper.
It's cheaper. I mean, the players agreed to be in FIFA. Yeah, so.
That's so wild. But yeah,
it's just funny where it's going. It's also funny where we've been. I think we're 3 for 3 on segues now.
I think we are. This
2016.
Yeah.
is where we've been. Now, this is called the origin point year for many people, including myself. You know, you had the Harambe incident.
It's
during
true.
this year.
It's
so
true.
You're not going to see gaming culture be really affected this year because it happened this year. Though it was early in the year.
A lot of crazy things in 2016 when you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lot
of crazy.
What did you just say?
I don't even know what came out of my mouth.
A lot of crazy things.
Yeah, that's what happens to my brain when I start thinking of 2016.
So we could just go to 2016 really quick. You need to think Donald Trump's president.
Okay.
Harambe's killed.
Yep.
Overwatch came out.
Because of those things.
Yes. I mean, bro, that's just a culture unto itself.
Yeah. I mean, gaming culture is huge at this point. We talk about it like really becoming mainstream in 2015. 2016.
It exploded. Massive explosion. So 2016, right? You've got games like Overwatch, Uncharted 4, Titanfall 2, Firewatch, which was all over YouTube, Dark Souls 3, Battlefield 1 with my favorite trailer ever.
Yeah.
Stardew Valley, Final Fantasy 15, Dishonored 2, Hitman, Kirby Planet Robot.
Hey, that's a good game. That's a really good game.
Civ 6, No Man's Sky, Doom.
Doom 2016.
Yep. XCOM 2. Forza Horizon 3, Stellaris. Dude, so many good games.
I know. I'm glad you said Stellaris. You know, I just love hammering in that stereotype on
I love Stellaris. And I have tried, I kid you not, 6 or 7 times to get a full lobby to play Stellaris.
Oh, it's multiplayer?
It is multiplayer.
That's how little I know about it.
And I understand. A game can take 12 hours, whatever. But I've tried like 6 or 7 times where I've had people committed, like 8 people committed, right? And then day before, they're like, actually, I can't do it today.
Actually, I don't want to look at a spreadsheet for my whole day.
I'm sorry. Spreadsheet.
It's a spreadsheet game.
You build ships.
It's a spreadsheet game. You cannot deny.
Point them. It's an RTS. It's a 4X technically. Exploration, exploitation. I don't remember what the other 2 X's are.
Oh, that's what it means by 4X.
Yes.
Oh man, dude, I don't. That's kind of. I think it's a pretty big spreadsheet game. Like more spreadsheet than other spreadsheets.
Yes and no.
Yes.
Yes and no. BioShock the Collection, Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess HD.
No, wow.
Ratchet and Clank, Super Hot.
Love that game.
Love Super Hot. Far Cry Primal, boo. Bad Far Cry game. I know people who like it, but it's a bad Far Cry game.
Never played it.
Hyperlight Drifter. Tom Clancy's The Division, which we've also talked about before. Street Fighter 5.
Not in 2016. It's nowhere close to Game of the Year.
No.
Horrendous launch.
Pony Island.
Oh, Pony Island.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Kathy Rain. There's a couple other, but those were the big ones.
Yeah, I'm not even going to throw in a Nintendo pick here.
Oh, Watch Dogs 2. That came out.
Who cares about Watch Dogs 2?
I don't know. I thought it looked pretty nice.
It was kind of a flop, if I remember.
It was kind of a flop. Quantum Break. I enjoyed Quantum Break.
Never touched it.
If I'm not mistaken, Quantum Break was a game where the cutscenes were live action.
Oh.
So they were filmed.
Oh.
I thought it was pretty cool. They had a lot of like...
Did it transition well?
I thought it did.
Oh, okay.
Like you would run into a room and then it would do the classic, cutscene transition where it goes dark and then it pushes in. But it's a live action shot, and I thought it was pretty good for the time, definitely. No Man's Sky, the 2016 launch.
Yep, we're not talking about that.
So bad.
Not talking about that.
So bad. Did you ever play Inside?
I did play Inside. That's a great little short indie game.
That is a great short indie game. Yeah. Though I think this was a great year in gaming.
Yeah.
100%.
Agree.
Now, what do you think was picked as Game of the Year?
Well, I know what was picked by Mr. Jeff.
Yes. We've talked about it, yep.
Because I was definitely wrong in a previous episode. I foolishly said there's never been a multiplayer-focused game that got Game of the Year. And Overwatch did get Game of the Year in 2016.
Yes.
So definitely proved me wrong.
By both DICE and the Game Awards. No.
What about BAFTAs?
BAFTAs chose a single-player game.
Was it Doom?
No. Single-player game put by Sony. A game that I really enjoyed. Made by Naughty Dog Entertainment. You know what it is yet?
Keep going.
Uncharted 4.
Oh, yeah.
A Thief's End.
Yeah.
I really liked Uncharted 4.
Uncharted 4 is great.
It felt like a really good wrap-up.
Uncharted 4 is great. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Okay, but...
Don't think it's up there in this
year. Do you think Overwatch deserves it?
I'll spoil it. It's not going to be my personal pick.
It's not going to be my personal pick either. Do I understand the pick? We've always talked about the understanding the pick. It was pretty revolutionary.
I think it was... I mean, it was the first team hero shooter.
Hero shooter.
Mm-hmm. So... I mean, it was big in the culture at the time. Like, not just big, like huge for the culture at the time.
Absolutely.
It was. I mean, I played a lot of Overwatch 1. I don't even know how many hours I had. I don't think I reached silver border, but I was like 5 stars.
Yeah.
But if you count PC plus everything, I'm probably silver border. But I played a ton. I played a lot. It's one of those games where a lot of people, like, that's their one game that they play. And I think it still is. You know, it's like people will just get on and play Overwatch. And there's a reason for that. I think the character designs are, you know, it has Blizzard all over it, like in a good way. And now in a bad way in some cases. But the character design is awesome. The gameplay was amazing. Before it got super sweaty with Overwatch League, it was genuinely just an amazing, fun game that you could play and be like, oh, we just comboed our ults, got like 6 kills. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
The 6v6 was a little odd, but it was the first hero shooter, so we didn't know that 5v5 would be better.
Well, yeah. I mean, at the time, a part of what made 6v6 so bad later on was, you know, you add so many heroes that you have people that can stack their abilities. So, you know, you could go double shield.
Yeah,
you know,
it was kind of cool because you had a flex character, right?
You know, they're bringing 6v6 back, right?
I know. You're doing
because people liked it.
Yeah, but the problem still persists. I
mean, I don't disagree, but they're bringing it back because they can't figure out what they're doing.
No, they can't. I did see that, and I'm like, then what'd you even do? What is the 2 in Overwatch 2 anymore?
Well, I mean, it's a whole...
They just brought it back to Overwatch 1.
They did. Well, it was a different deal. It's Blizzard. It's Activision's fault.
I know.
If we really get down to it, it's Activision's fault. But, I mean, it doesn't... You can't just say it's Activision's fault and then... Okay.
Do you know what else was nominated for that year?
What?
Doom, of course. Inside, Titanfall 2, and Uncharted 4.
Now, I believe Titanfall 2... is a game that people still love to this day.
People still like it. I do believe they cut the servers.
Oh, yeah. I know that was a big deal because it was going out for $1 because the servers were shutting down.
Yep, I do remember that.
So,
which is tough.
But it was a great game.
You can still play the single player. You can still buy the game and play it. Which,
I mean, the movement's amazing, right?
Oh, yeah. Movement, they did it so much better than Advanced Warfare ever could. Advanced Warfare is just a goofball game.
Yeah, I mean... it's a goofball game, but I did enjoy the infection mode on that game because that was funny.
Yeah, it's
the
funny.
exo zombies or whatever it's called.
Yeah. I mean, best mobile game went to Pokemon Go, Niantic.
Oh, we're in Pokemon Go area.
Yes, we are.
Man, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
I mean, it feels like such a long time, but also...
Hey, a DLC won this year for best role-playing game.
Oh, boy.
It was The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Blood and Wine, which was a phenomenal DLC, by the way.
So they've had DLCs before?
Yeah. We talked last episode about unprecedented DLC win. It's unprecedented for Game of the Year.
Yes.
But I'm seeing here that DLCs have won...
Awards before.
Awards, yeah.
Okay, that makes me... I'll need to rethink that argument at a later time.
Yeah.
Because that does affect how I think about it. But... I feel like you can guess what my pick's going to be this year.
I actually don't know what you're going to pick.
Let me give you my... No, actually, most of the nominees are in that list, so it's not even worth creating a separate list.
I think the only thing that I think was definitely undercut this year was Stardew Valley.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a game that when it launched, it only got bigger as it kept going.
Yeah, it's definitely a cult game. That's for sure. That became mainstream.
Yeah. So in 2016, when the game launched, it was a cult game. It was made by one guy who did everything from the music to the coding to whatever. So it was a standout when it launched. But I think when they added multiplayer, which if I'm not mistaken, it must have been 2018 or 2019.
Yeah,
I think that's when it got super big. And it keeps getting. I wouldn't say it keeps getting bigger, but it's definitely like a staple of just indie games and gaming in general.
I said Dark Souls 3, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
You did.
That wasn't even nominated for Game of the Year.
I know.
Which is, I think, a shame. Which is funny. No, it's not funny.
It's tragic.
It is tragic. That feels like a snub to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's your pick?
Well, my top contenders are obviously Overwatch and Doom 2016. But Dark Souls 3 is my pick, like 100%.
Yeah, I think
Dark Souls 3, it's insane that didn't get a single nomination.
Yeah.
I think it got best RPG or something like that.
Yeah, it got some nominations, but it wasn't even nominated for Game of the Year.
Which is crazy to me. I think it's peak Souls. 3 is my favorite.
I think 3 is peak Souls as well, which is wild.
But I think we're also at a time where like FromSoft was kind of breaking into mainstream with Dark Souls 3. Because if you notice, Dark Souls 2 and 1 didn't get any nominations, period.
No, but also understandable for the time.
Yeah, because Dark Souls was kind of like in the niche, like, oh, this game's super hard. That's the gimmick of this game.
Yep.
But then people, like, the more people played it, the more people enjoyed it, the more people liked it, and the lore and the gameplay and the challenge / difficulty. It's like when Dark Souls 3 came out, it's like, this is peak level design, peak boss design. We're not even going to talk about the DLCs.
Yeah.
But like, just that's what impresses me so much about 3 still. Is I could go in, play 3, be like, man, Elden Ring, wish I could have this level design. Which, understandably so, because it's an open world versus a linear.
Yep.
But if they were somehow able to make an open world game with that level design,
then again, I think Shadow of the Erdtree has some really great level design.
Where
the whole map, it's so vertical, it's great.
Well, okay, yes, but it's open world. It doesn't hold a candle to Dark Souls 3. So you could argue some of the dungeons.
That's fair. I
could argue like I think I talked about this, but the Phantom Avram tornado place.
That one,
that has some great level design because you can't explore and it forces you down the level design.
I agree.
So that's what makes that section great.
I mean, just Shadow of the Erdtree. Personally, I felt that it was forcing you to always climb, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah,
it definitely felt different from
a lot more verticality.
Yep, felt different from the base game.
Did you ever make it to the Abyss part? In that DLC? I don't think so. You didn't get to the horror.
The last two bosses.
The horror game section?
No,
you didn't fight the horror. You didn't do the horror game section.
I don't think so.
Well, not much to say to that. But there's a part of the game where it takes away your horse.
Okay.
And then there's enemies that will insta kill you. Unless you hide from them and sneak around them.
Oh, interesting.
So that's
kind of cool.
That's kind of cool. But the level design isn't that good in that section because you can just easily avoid them all, in my opinion.
Unfortunate.
In my opinion.
Anyway, take my praises for when you enter the DLC into most of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's probably your pick, right, for Game of the Year, even though you haven't finished it.
I told you I picked Black Myth Wukong.
Yes, you did. You did.
Yeah.
You did.
I did.
Thank you for reminding me. Yep. You also didn't beat that game. Anyway.
Once again, man, you don't have to play the entire game.
For someone who loves the achievements so much, you don't finish games.
Well, I'm trying to get all the achievements for Subnautica currently, while playing League of Legends. Which
there's
a new season is coming out with a whole bunch of new things. It's great.
Your problem.
And there's so many new noobs in there because of the Arcane Season 2. It is a heyday for anyone who's been thinking, I used to play League. I used to be pretty good. Why don't you go stomp on some noobs?
I cannot believe this platform that we have been given, small that it might be, is being used to advertise League of Legends.
Don't play League.
This goes against all of my 10 moral codes.
Don't play League. I lied. Just don't play League.
All of my moral codes.
Watch Arcane, read the lore, but don't play the game. It's okay. You don't have to. I don't even play it enough to really call myself a League player, which is crazy because I've got like 200 plus hours in League.
I'm just looking at you disappointed. I'm sorry.
My pick for Game of the Year this year is stuck between Stardew Valley and Dark Souls 3.
If you want to give it to Stardew, I'm not going to be mad.
I think I have to give it to Stardew Valley.
It's impressive.
It's very impressive. That being said, Battlefield 1 has the best trailer ever in gaming history.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun game too.
I went back and played it recently. It's great. It's probably one of my favorite Battlefield games.
It's the only good World War I game.
Verdun is a really good World War I game. It's very simulatory.
Okay, never heard of it.
Yeah, is
that an actual game?
Yep.
Okay.
Verdun and Insanzo is the sequel.
Okay. Well, it's the best mainstream World War I game.
Yes, I will say that is fair.
So, but yeah, no, I think Dark Souls 3 got insanely robbed.
I think,
and because this is what it is to me is like it was a popularity and it still is, but because now FromSoft is big dogs, they get their DLCs into the nominees for Game of the Year. When Dark Souls 3 came out, and it was better than most, if not all, the games.
Yeah,
it didn't even get a nomination.
I hear you, but I know, and I think that's the tough part is the jury counts sales into nominations, right? And so even if a game is super good, if it didn't sell, they're not going to pick it.
Which is crazy because I saw Dark Souls 3 billboards in the middle of nowhere.
No, I know. I think Dark Souls 3 sold fine, but it sold excellent in years after. I think that's the tough part with a lot of these.
It like broke records when it came out.
Maybe you're right.
So I think it's just a popularity. I mean, this is where the popularity contest of the Game of the Year awards and why we're kind of going back and doing this because Dark Souls 3 definitely got snubbed.
Oh, it definitely got snubbed. Don't get me wrong.
Got robbed, and you could say that the same for Stardew Valley.
I think so.
I think where the pulse was for gamers at the time is they were too busy playing Overwatch to play other games.
Yeah, but League of Legends as well was out.
Yeah, so, but in terms of the best game that came out in 2016, I mean, even just base Dark Souls 3 takes the cake.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think that's the right opinion. Like I always say, like, oh, you can have your own opinion. I think that's just, I don't know. I'm pretty.
What's wild is we're getting to the era when the the highest grossing games are no longer game sales, but in-game microtransactions. So like League of Legends was number 1, and then Honor of Kings Arena of Valor was another 10-cent game.
And you had Overwatch with their loot boxes
you
too.
have Clash of Clans from Supercell. Man. Clash Royale was making bank. Pokemon Go made a whole lot of money. But you notice everything on this list, save for literally League of Legends, is a mobile game.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the mobile takeover.
Yeah, like literally this is when it's happening.
Well, I mean, it depends, because there's the golden era back, 2011, you got Temple Run, you got Jetpack Joyride.
That's true, true.
I believe Clash of Clans might have been 2012 or whatever.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean?
We talked about it a little bit.
It's like base Clash of Clans. But now it's like...
yeah, it's so much money in mobile games, which
it's crazy.
Whatever.
I mean, and if you think about it, I believe PUBG came out in 2016 too, right?
No, PUBG was 2018.
2018?
But interesting you bring up PUBG.
Yeah.
So I was recently looking at Steam charts because I think it's fun to see what's popular at the moment. So PUBG came out in 2018, which is 6 years ago.
Unfortunately, yeah.
6 years ago. And the crazy thing is, it still frequently pops into the top 5 played games on Steam.
That's crazy to me.
Like millions of players.
I thought they all transferred to Fortnite or Warzone at this
That's
point.
what I thought too. Except they have so many players.
Is there content coming in?
Yeah, they have a season pass thing.
Yeah,
everyone does.
I mean, because 2016, I don't know. I think Fortnite's probably the first. Fortnite is 2017? Oh, gosh. If PUBG's 2018, I mean, you're making me think Fortnite is later than it is, too.
Well, the Battle Royale mode came out after the actual game came out.
The Save the World.
Yeah, I played Save the World.
Kids don't even know what Save the World is now.
Yeah, so Save the World came out in 2017.
Okay.
It's not showing me when the Battle Royale version released.
Okay.
Oh, 2020.
2020. So we're not. I thought we were in Battle Royale territory. We are not yet.
Well, we are technically. So the first, or granddaddy, of Battle Royales came out in 2015. H1Z1.
Oh,
Battle
yes.
Royale.
Yes.
That came out in 2015, massive on YouTube, and then just crashed and burned, I think, in 2017.
Yeah, it's interesting. Dude, it's crazy because I think that's the most distinct example in my mind of a new genre becoming mainstream. I mean, you could technically say hero shooters too.
Yep, hero shooters.
And I think that would classify. You could say cozy games.
Cozy games.
But which
Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Like, this really is a time period. What new genres have we had in the last 4 years?
Battle Pass, Battle Pass game.
Exactly.
Pass.
It's all just Battle Pass on top of already established.
Hey, no more FIFA. It's EA FC 24.
Whatever it is. Yeah. But, you look at it. Jinx.
That was cute.
You look at it and you're like, well, 2015, you had new genre, Battle Royale come out, H1Z1. Buggy as all get out, didn't super work, but people were excited. 2016, you get your first major hero shooter out. You get one of your first major cozy games, which is Stardew Valley, which really didn't blow up until...
But I would say that's the face of cozy games.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, cozy games try to model themselves off of Stardew Valley.
But yeah, what could even be next? Because I bet it's something that, we've already seen. I really hope it's not gacha games, even though they're already super mainstream with things like Genshin Impact and let's see if I can name this right. Zenless Zone Zero.
Zenless Zone Zero, yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Hoyo versus Honkai Star Royal.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
So, I mean, gacha games are already getting big, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's at that point yet, though it might already be.
Well, Honkai Star Rail got an award at the Game Awards last year.
Yeah.
I think 2 of their games.
Best mobile game?
Yeah. 2 of their games actually got awards.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, they're up there now.
They're up there. But I don't see people just...
What if it's like something like RuneScape? Like RuneScape type game.
MMO comes back? Because you have the rise of the MMOs, you have the rise of the RTS, Battle Royales, cozy games, hero shooters.
I mean, RTSs are kind of dead too now.
Yeah.
Like,
is it a new genre or is it a revival?
It's so hard to like say we're going to get a new genre and think about what the new genre is going to be, right? Because it's new.
Yeah. It's something it's either going to I think it's already here. It's just we don't know what it's going to be yet.
Yeah, like Portal was a massive thing for like puzzle games, right? And then puzzle games blew up, right? Someone just has to do it once and do it really well.
Yeah.
And then we'll know that this is the next thing.
Something has to be its Fortnite.
Yep.
So
PUBG was really the kickoff for Battle Royales.
But then Fortnite made it like everyone.
I mean, everyone knew about PUBG.
Everyone knew about PUBG, but it wasn't free.
If I'm not mistaken, I think PUBG is still, if not the first, within the top 5 best-selling games in history.
Yeah.
No, because Elden Ring dethroned it.
Okay.
But that's still wild because I think PUBG is like 2nd or 3rd. And it held that throne for years.
That's pretty wild.
It is.
Considering the history of it all.
I know.
If I had to make a guess for what it's going to be, I think... am I biased? No, I was going to say deck builder, but I think that's going to keep being its niche.
I just thought the same thing, but it's going to be a combination of deck builder and something else.
Well, because here's my thing. Like, I think, I talk about Bellatra all the time, but I think it genuinely is something that it's turning heads.
What if there was genuinely, think of it like this. Okay, hold on. Thought process here. Developing unique game in my head. Bully. Okay. Okay. Hogwarts Legacy. And Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay. So all these are school situations. People love schools. Man.
They
I don't
love
know if you know that. I mean,
everyone
you know that
loves school.
Everyone loves the idea of a school.
Yeah.
In whatever,
because you get to relive.
I think it's more of like the familiar structure.
Yeah.
And like, oh, there's this festival. It's like, oh, it's a school festival. I know
Schools
that.
all around the world, you can all feel the same because you're stuck in a room learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, so you're thinking of a school.
School.
You said we were talking about deck building, so I imagine it's a card game thing.
Yep.
With magic,
Yeah. So imagine you're playing bully, right?
Yeah.
And that one's game is fun. You just walk around, you're a bully. You do things. So you got your role playing aspect, okay? But now think bigger, okay? You got the magic and the freedom of Hogwarts Legacy. You get to run around and do things. Now think instead of a magic wand, I have a Yu-Gi-Oh deck.
It's a deck of cards.
And I get to challenge people to a battle. And we get to duke it out in this beautifully animated, large-scale, like, arena battle. Like, think Persona 5. You're walking around, you get into the big... Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I'm seeing it, but my question is that going to get mainstream people in?
That's going to blow up, man. That's the next
it would
thing.
blow up in the RPG
Hear me out.
space.
If this becomes massive, I want my
Your cut?
My cut.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think RPGs, like, specifically, like, card games or RPGs are ever going to break into that mold because it's not like...
Some do on occasion, but...
Yeah. Like, I can see an arcade shooter, like, if something had the pace of Call of Duty, but there was a twist to it, like, Splitgate, I would say was that, but it didn't blow up.
It didn't blow up.
I mean, it was popular, and we heard about it.
Yes.
And it broke into the mainstream, but it fell off super quick.
Yeah, because it didn't have enough uniqueness or oomph to keep it going.
Well, I just don't think the support was behind it because of the circumstances. But I think an arcade shooter, to me, and again, I'm probably so biased because I'm playing Black Ops 6, but it's like, I think that sort of thing where it's like, oh, this is familiar enough, this is a shooter, but it has XYZ, and it has all the dark pattern, battle pass, whatever to keep you playing, and it's free. That could turn that genre into something that gets copied.
I think genre mashing is probably the next big thing. It's just what genres are going to get mashed together.
Yeah. I think something that could happen if they figured it out somehow, and I don't know how you could, but speedrunning as a concept is something that people are just immediately, they understand, they're drawn to, smaller time, right?
Yeah.
If there was a way to make a speedrunning kind of game, have you heard of Neon White?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Do you know what it is?
No, but I've heard the name.
It's like a speedrun game where it's like a 3D space speedrun game.
Yeah.
I think if there was a way you can make that kind of concept into a live multiplayer game, I think that would blow up. And I think speedrun shooters, if you want to call them that, are like the trademark, by the way. Speedrun shooters are like your next big thing. I don't know. That's the concept that I see going.
It's like why people really like Titanfall. It was definitely the Omni movement, but that's more of a COD thing. But, and a shooter. But now put a race in or something.
Yeah, I mean, and there's problems with each of these ideas we have.
Yeah,
but
someone's got to do it better than we're thinking about it.
Exactly. There's got to be something we're not thinking. Or, when you think of shooter, restrict one aspect of that or add something new to it.
I do think MMOs are going to come back.
Who's going to make an MMO that's going to come back, though?
I don't know who's going to make it, but I'm thinking, like, there have been so many attempts at these, like, grand scale MMOs that have live service components. I think of, like, Heroes and Generals tried it first. It was a free-to-play shooter, but the battles were created by generals, right? And so there was this war map that you unlocked when you got a high enough rank, and if you wanted to use your in-game credit to buy battalions that you can move around, and then the actual battles you played in to get to that point were actually set up by people in this war that's going on.
Okay, yeah.
Hugely successful for many years, and then it kind of died off because the support dropped.
Okay.
And then you have games like Foxhole does it right now.
Yes, okay, I know that one.
And that's these persistent like wars that go on. You've got players who play as logistics teams and frontline soldiers and artillerymen and that sort of thing. That's really popular. It's got an extraordinarily dedicated community. The dev team is really good. So I'm thinking there is definitely room for an MMO to do something. And I think it's going to fall in the line of shooters. Shooters are just very accessible.
I think it needs to be an IP people can already latch on to, though.
Star Wars. Do a good one.
Do a good Star Wars. I mean, I love Star Wars The Old Republic.
I do too. Do a good modern Star Wars MMO that also includes decent gunplay mechanics.
I think you have a winner.
I think you have a winner. I think that will sell.
That would definitely sell. And if it's good, you could get people be like, oh, I remember when I played a Star Wars game. Let me boot that back.
You just need a really good live service model for it. I think that's the trouble with MMOs, is without a good live service model, it dies quickly.
Yeah. And I think there needs to be like strong community aspects right out of the gate.
Yep.
Like not just like, oh, you can be in clans, but it's like, oh, you can arm wrestle in the lobby.
Yeah.
Or, oh, you can like... There are rare items you can trade with each other. That's a big one. So
yeah, because I was just thinking, I played Outlast Trials not too long ago, and one of the big things is you're waiting for your one friend who always says he's going to be there at a certain time, but isn't there at that time. And so you sit and you can arm wrestle. They included chess now.
There's
so
Pong in there too.
Yeah, and so you can just sit and play things, and it's fun because they're games that you enjoy, and you can just kind of rotate through them until that person gets online.
Yeah, exactly. So those like little small community things, I think, do make a huge difference. Even though Fortnite didn't really have it, I mean, there was the.
It was.
I mean, that was
quick
just
enough.
that was a cultural movement, though.
It
like
was.
It's hard to really fault Fortnite because even Epic Games at that point was nothing, and it was like, oh,
Epic Games literally made itself off of Fortnite.
I know, so good on them. But I mean, that's just how it is.
Yep.
I mean, I think I think your first idea you said with the Hogwarts, Yu-Gi-Oh, what was the other
Bully.
thing? Bully. That would be like a super fun game.
I think
for
so.
people that are like really into games.
Yeah.
I don't think that would break into general market.
Yeah, it would have to be marketed right.
You need something because like Fortnite can be like it's free, 100 to one person wins.
Yep.
You know, that's the idea. I think there needs to be something that's easy to understand right off the gate. And now that I'm thinking more about it, it needs to not be sweaty right off the gate. Because nowadays, you know, like a shooter like Call of Duty, Warzone just came out. I'm seeing clips of people cheating. The movement shooter kids are back on. You know, they didn't get enough money to buy the actual game, but now they can play Warzone.
Yep.
So now they're shooting everyone with their movement and slides and all that, which is technically present in multiplayer, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah.
It's different. But if it was a new concept, if you had all these casual people coming in and it gets big enough, character design is also super important. I don't think you can go gritty with it.
No, it's got to be very accessible to all ages.
All ages is big. I don't think that necessarily means a moderated chat.
No, I don't think so either, but you know.
I think all ages and art style typically helps. And just distinct characters. And if you can somehow get distinct terminology off the ground.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't even play Fortnite when reboot cards happened, but, you know, I still know what rebooting my friend means.
Yep.
So.
Chug jug.
I mean, everyone knows
chug jug.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just what it is. You can't force it. It just has to happen. So it'll be interesting. But it is fun to try to guess where gamers' heads will go instead of developers because, you know, I think it's just going to be... I mean, I don't know why I keep going back to gacha games. I really think that if, like, Nintendo did a gacha game, it would be over. I mean, they technically did with Mario Kart Tour. Yeah. But they did, like, not a mobile Mario Kart game. And they did like an actual legit gacha game, it might be over. It might be over for me, lots of other people. That's the Switch 2 launch, actually. The Switch 2 launch is the Nintendo. It's the Smash gacha game where you unlock characters.
Imagine they let you. Imagine they let you customize your profile, but the only things you can customize it with is stuff you had to roll.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. If they added to the Switch today, you could roll to unlock different themes for your Switch because there's only black and white. Yeah. I would do it right now.
There are so many people. They would literally sell so much money. They get so much backlash, but they'd make so much money.
And I don't understand because, Not to talk more about Nintendo, but it's like I don't understand how they can do other things that are so good for them, like monetarily, but it hurts the fans. But then they don't make the easy things, like release a skin pack for Smash Ultimate characters, release like themes for your Switch. You've done it on the 3DS before. Just do that on the Switch. You know, there's so many things that
like literally just release themes that cost like 99 cents. You know, 90% of your players are going to buy at least one.
Yeah.
Right. You got millions. Like that's literally millions of dollars that you just make by a custom skin.
I just don't get it.
That costs $1.
How have they not done this yet?
I have no idea.
It's great. I would buy so many themes right now.
Everyone would buy at least one, if not multiple. And it'd be crazy.
It would be nice. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. It's been quite the achievement of itself to make it all the way here, listening to our rambling. What do you think won 2016? Dark Souls 3 or Stardew Valley?
It's a great question.
It's pretty tough in my head.
Don't forget to like, favorite, comment, subscribe.
Hit the bell
to be notified of all our upcoming episodes.
All of our upcoming episodes. Thank you all so much for watching.
I've been Micah.
I've been Cade.
Peace.